From the alley-oops at Keyshaw to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Questions. I want the questions.
You want all of the questions,
Yeah, all of them.
as do I. Smoke, not so much. Let's pump the brakes on smoke, folks, and let's just have a fun.
Unless it's coming from a barbecue, no smoke.
Fair. Look, we're excited. We're happy to be here. We're happy to do this bi-week Q&A. No preview show this week because there's nothing to preview.
True.
It's relaxation time here on the 49ers Cutback, as we have less content to pump out this week, which is sad because we like pumping out the content that we've been producing. But it's a nice break for a minute. We get to catch our breath, interact with the Cutback crew a little bit more, and be a little creative with what we put out this week. I mean, shoot, today's daily was a film breakdown per se. It's fun to be able to do stuff like that and mix up what we're doing and deep dive a little bit into some of the problems in 49ers land, because there seems to be a lot of them, and no one seems to have a real answer on what's going on. And 49ers fans definitely don't want there to be a simple answer.
No. And what is up, Jay Ellie? How's it going, man? Welcome, Billy D. Guy. Welcome.
Absolutely.
It is. I mean, there's a lot of conversations that are still going on, because even though the 49ers don't play this week, there's a lot going on, and a lot of things are being talked about and posted. There's a lot of conversation out there. So I'm curious, what everyone's going to come with for the questions, because there's still things, the 49ers are doing in the front office and stuff, things that can be discussed, some, news that they've made, decisions they've made, including players,
True.
Brought off the IR, cut, re-signed to the practice squad.
To say, Devontae Harris has been in every aspect of this organization now. He's been through every process.
Yeah, he's doing his best Dante Johnson impersonation.
It's true.
And I think that, the 49ers are going to continue to make moves like this, but there's a lot of cool stuff going out there.
Well, you have to imagine, right? If DJ hasn't been playing the way that he played, especially last week or, week even before that, that DJ may have been the guy that went through the ringer of the entire process of everything that was going on in San Francisco. DJ may have saved his own job, his own skin, in terms of the shuffling that's going to be going on. But there's definitely going to be more shuffling coming, because you got a lot of guys who are going to be coming off IR here in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be interesting. I know we're talking about Kevin Givens as well. He's going to be coming off at some point. And we're going to get K'Wan Williams back, which is going to be nice. I am definitely looking forward to Jordan Willis coming back when he comes back.
Oh, that's going to be big.
Yeah, I want to see him coming off the edge, because I thought that he really looked good in training camp and looked good in the preseason. I thought he was doing a very good job. And he plays very low. He's one of those guys that rushes. I think he's an actual improvement over Arden Key on that edge rush. So I am curious to see what happens when he comes back in that rotation of edge rushers, how it changes, how they use Ebucom and all that. So that'll be a big move when that happens.
Absolutely. It's going to be a huge move. That's going to be something that definitely happens there. And hello, sir.
Yeah.
Avtar Singh, how you doing, my guy?
How is it going, Avtar?
Hope everything's going well with you. But look, we got Week 6 here. 49ers have a bye, right? They're taking it easy. They're taking a nice chill pill today. They're relaxing and enjoying the week. We got big games coming up and a lot of stuff in the NFC West that's going to be happening as well. What are the Seattle Seahawks going to look like? What's going to be going on with them? Kyler Murray goes on to the injury report for the Arizona Cardinals. So should Arizona fans be a little panicky? They have themselves quite a matchup this week going up against Cleveland. And Billy D. Guy has a question. My question is off topic. Which other teams you dislike the most watching in Georgia?
Oh, nice.
Impressive. Nice, my guy.
I think for me, the teams that I dislike the most are, of course, the Cowboys, the Rams, the Seahawks, and this is no particular order. The Cardinals, because they're in our division now, and the New York Giants. I can't stand the New York football Giants. Just some of the things that happened in the 80s and 90s with them, when they had the big tuna and all that. Just I can't stand them. Mark Bavaro and all those guys. Nah. Those would be the teams that I think I dislike. The five teams that I dislike. But usually it changes every week by who's playing the 49ers. I hate them too.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. And that's a typical, right? That's a typical feeling for most 49er fans. If you're playing against us, screw you and the horse you rode into town on, or, whatever home you happen to be staying at if we're coming to your place. But no, I think that's a pretty good list there. Anyone in the NFC West, absolutely. I have a special disdain in my heart for the Kansas City Chiefs as well, just because of the recent Super Bowl. And, as a guy as a guy who hasn't witnessed a lot of great 49er moments because I was a 90s baby. Mm-hmm. I didn't get to really enjoy any of the glory. Whenever the Niners get there, it's hard. I don't have as much disdain in my heart for the Baltimore Ravens, and that's only because it was a brotherly kinship battle, and the 49ers really had no business being in that game after that first half. So I was just glad that we made it a football game instead of getting absolutely embarrassed on the big stage. So look, I think all the teams that you listed are teams that are in that category for me as well. I don't know if there's another one that adds to that list. I think you hit it. You hit it.
Well, thank you. Avatar asked about Jeff Wilson Jr. and Jeff Wilson Jr. from all reports right now is the end of November.
Correct.
That is what we have heard. That is what Kyle Shanahan has said. I've kind of alluded to the fact that I think he could come back a little bit earlier. So I think the watch starts at the end of October, early November for Jeff Wilson Jr. to be back. We'll see if he's recovered from his injuries. We could definitely use him in that running back room.
That's true. JLA, Shark isn't on IR. They never put him.
Yeah, they never put him on.
Yeah, they never officially put him on IR. So he's not someone that would be eligible to come in and fill that spot. I believe Willis is 7 games, correct, that he has to miss?
Who?
Jordan Willis?
I think it's 8 games.
8 games, so yeah. That's a little bit more time there. I think they have, it's 2 open spots. They have open or 2?
They did cut Devontae Harris, so that's an open spot. So I think they have 2 open spots.
So I think they have 2 open spots, which leads me to believe that it's most likely going to be Hasty, and then Givens is the name that I think brought up. I think that's the guy who's going to be.
Yeah, I think so, because they said no. They basically have insinuated that those are the 2 guys, But there hasn't been much talk about Givens lately.
It's been mum's the word.
Yeah, it really has. So, and what is up, Fable? How's it going, man?
Absolutely. So, I think, but he has to teams that dislike the most. For me, the team that I dislike the most right now would probably just be the Cowboys. I'm just not big on the Cowboys.
I mean, if you grew up in the 90s, Niners versus Cowboys, you definitely don't like Cowboys.
No, that's just where it is. It's just where it's at. That's just how I'm feeling on that matter. And you know what? It's fair. It's definitely fair. Megan says Seattle. Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Everyone doesn't like Seattle.
I mean, it's the gum chewing, right?
I'm guessing
the Pete Carroll gum chewing.
I'm guessing there's 31 other teams that don't really care for Seattle.
I'm assuming that there's probably a handful of teams in the league that have that much disdain. I'd say Seattle's one of them. The Patriots definitely during that run were one of them. I don't know if it's the same anymore because I think people are laughing at them now. But
really,
not to an extent.
Okay,
to an extent. Oh, I'm not saying they should be. I'm not saying they should be laughing at the Patriots. I'm just saying you have people that are ready to just point the finger and laugh at New England.
Yeah, they win 6 Super Bowls. They're the ones doing the laughing.
Yeah, that's for, especially since there's 11 organizations that have never won a chip.
Yeah, and it's basically 6 in 20 years. I mean, you're feeling pretty good about yourself.
Oh man, I just feel bad for Patriots fans now because the likelihood that you're going to put something like that together again is really, really hard. And you make that adjustment better than 49ers fans have made that adjustment because there's times where 49ers fans we don't have the patience there.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow. You get so used to winning, accustomed to winning. Every single year you expect it to be your year, and then it's not.
It's true. It's just hard to get used to, right? It's
just
really hard to get used to. I wasn't saying anything there, Megan. Just
he 100% was.
It's fine.
He took shots.
I wasn't taking shots at the Patriots.
Yeah. I'm a
smart man, Ant. I'm a smart man. I live in a household with a Patriots fan.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's the weakness. Maybe you're not as smart as you thought you were.
Maybe not, Ant.
Or is she a Colts fan? We'll find out in a week, right?
We will literally find out in about a week.
That's when the picture gets linked.
That's when the picture gets linked and dropped on the channel. Oh no, Megan, you better watch out.
Fable's never adjusted. He gets it.
Hey, you know what? It's easier for someone like me to adjust who didn't grow up experiencing the 49ers having nothing but success. I've experienced more heartbreak than success. So it's really easy for me to adjust to heartbreak and us, feeling like it's going to be our year and then it not. And then someone who witnessed, decades and just felt like an eternity of the 49ers always being a team that even if they weren't winning it right, they were always right there. They were in the thick of it, at least hand on the championship trophy, and at any point in time could have snagged it and taken it for themselves. I have not experienced that.
Yeah, the 80s and 90s changed things. Anyone that lived through the 80s, I'm with Fable, I did as well. You became accustomed to every single year, expected the 49ers to win a Super Bowl. And when they didn't, it was extreme disappointment, not just to the fans, but to the players as well. Like, that's what they felt. And then you got into the 90s, and it was just, pain. Early in the 90s was a lot of pain for 49ers fans. So anyone that lived through those are tough enough to handle any situations that come up today. And that's why I think the Baltimore Ravens and Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowls don't hit me as hard. I think the game that hits me the hardest is probably the NFC Championship against the New York Giants when we were going for the three-peat, and we lose Joe Montana, and then we ultimately lose the game. I think that is the one that hits me the most as far as the biggest 49ers loss that I took. Of course, I hated the Dallas Cowboy losses in the 90s as well, but that one versus the Giants is the one that sparked it all, and it seriously frustrated me.
From BV50, those 49ers Cowboys games, 92-94, were the true Super Bowls. We all know it.
100%.
I don't remember them, but watching them back, yeah, they were definitely the Super
remember.
Bowls.
So here's a little story for you. So in 1992, for that NFC Championship game, I guess it's actually in 93 when it happens, but the 92 season, I went to a household with a bunch of Cowboy fans. It's me, my family, we're all 49er fans there. It was miserable. I hated it. The next year, I skipped out. We were there. I skipped out, went to Arby's, no lie, and watched the game from an Arby's because they got the meats. And it was way better. Even though
they had the meats.
Even though they
that hit me late, but that was close.
Even though they lost, it was way better than watching with Cowboy fans. I'll never do that again. That's awful. Even though one of my best friends is a Cowboys fan. And then 94 was absolutely glorious. The overwhelming just joy we felt when the Cowboys went down was great.
Yeah, that's usually how that works, man. It's really good. Red Eye said Bucs versus Eagles in 30 minutes. Let's see how Brady can tear apart the Eagles. How Brady can tear the Eagles defense apart that Kyle can't whelp. Well, we'll see what happens. Thursday Night Football tends to be a cluster F for everybody involved because it's a short week, and you have a Bucs team that's dealing with a lot of things. And the Eagles are kind of riding high right now. They got some momentum after that comeback win. Their defense has got some things figured out. I think you might be surprised, Red Eye.
Bucs are going to thump them.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I'm going to say no.
I disagree.
I disagree. Well, here's the reason why I don't think they're going to get thumped.
Yeah.
I think the reason they're not going to get thumped is they got some real big problems in their secondary. I think it's going to prevent most teams from being thumped by them unless their name's the Miami Dolphins.
You know who had real troubles in their secondary? The 49ers. And they held the Eagles to 11 points.
Also true.
And there's still a pass rush that's going to get after Jalen Hurts in a big way.
It's true. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong there. I could be. Very tough for the Niners to make the playoffs with 12 games left. Niners can only lose 4 games. They need to go 8. They need to go 8-12, or it's bye-bye to another season.
I think he's meaning win 8 of 12.
Oh, 8 of the next 12. I think. We've gone over the schedule. We went over this on Face-Off. I think that pretty much 11 of the games that they have left are extremely.
Can I react to how Alex went on that? Win, loss.
It was all wins and then one loss at the very, very end.
Yeah.
Look, it's really, really hard. It's really hard to imagine the Niners being in the position they're in now. But if you honestly look at the schedule and look at the opponents that they have and the games that they're playing, there isn't anyone there that isn't beatable. All of those teams are beatable. All of them have weaknesses that the 49ers can exploit. And yes, the shoe is on the other foot. And that the Niners have weaknesses that the opponents can exploit. But the Niners, as I said, are 3 plays, 3 drives away in the last 3 games from being 5-0.
Oh, yeah.
So if you don't believe that one drive can be fixed and one series can be changed for this team, either offensively or defensively, to shift the tide for the 49ers in their favor, well then, you're just going to chalk this season up to another loss, and that's where you're at right now. And hey, that's fine. I hope that at the end of the season that you're feeling like, hey, I may have jumped the gun a little bit too early there. And you know what? Maybe I should have believed in this team a little bit more. And hey, that's okay, because it's better for you to be wrong in that scenario than for you to be right. I would rather you be wrong in that scenario than right personally, because I want this team to have success, and I think they can get it done. Yeah,
and Billy D Guy and Fable are right. The curly fries from Arby's are delicious. They are good to go. I used to also get, they had another sandwich there. I'm sure it's discontinued. I haven't been to Arby's in years. But that is always a good choice. Fries, I love fries, so that was always a good choice. And then I seen Jay Ellie said, anything special about the Colts this year that scares you or about the 49ers?
Personally, with the Colts, not really. Look, the O-line play for them has been atrociously awful. I think the thing that's surprised me, Ant, is how underwhelming they've looked offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
That's the biggest surprise from the Colts. I expected there to be more with their pass rush. I expected there to be better play from the linebacking core. There hasn't been. Secondary is extremely depleted. I mean, if you think the 49ers are in dire straits right now, no. The Colts are in a much worse situation defensively, especially with their cornerback room, than the 49ers are. If anything, if you're a 49er fan right now, you should be thankful that the injuries piled up in week 1 and that we were able to go out and get Josh Norman and Drake Kirkpatrick before this happened to the Colts, because the Colts are having this happen now in week 4-5, right? Leading into week 6 and week 7. There's no names out there anymore. There's nobody. And there was a guy in Trey Flowers out there on the waivers. Guess what? Nope, wrong. He's with the Bengals, so they don't even get that going in their favor. The defense has been extremely underwhelming for the Colts. The pass rush has not been there. Defoe is not having a great season so far. He hasn't been doing a whole heck of a lot. You know, he's been struggling a little bit. I don't know if that's all on him.
His numbers are actually the same as Eric Armstead.
Are they really?
Literally almost identical in hurries, and both have 1 sack.
Wow, they're giving Defoe some slander then, because some of the grading I've seen has not been very kind to DeForest
Does Armstead get praised?
Actually, Armstead is right now, grading wise. They have him as a top three in the league.
Yeah, literally, literally their numbers are almost identical.
Well, then, all right, then Defoe, I apologize to Forrest Buckner. People are throwing a lot of slander out on you, and you know what? Then I'm really looking forward to watching the film on you then, and completely changing my perspective on what DeForest Buckner's been doing, because their defense just hasn't been producing a lot of anything.
Yeah,
linebacking core has been missing tackles, a lot of running lanes. Teams been able to run the football on them on occasion, and basically when they want to. When teams want to load up and run the ball on the Colts, they have been able to take shots downfield. And then, while Carson Wentz hasn't been atrocious, he's definitely not the Carson Wentz that we saw almost in MVP form there in Philadelphia with the Eagles. And their wide receiver room outside of Michael Pittman leaves a lot to be desired.
Don't get me started on the wide receiver room. And Michael Pittman to me is a little underwhelming.
He hasn't done a lot.
I was not a huge fan of him coming out of college. I watched a lot of him at USC. I didn't think that he was, one of those guys. I thought he should have been like a 3rd round pick. He went in the 2nd round. Whatever, he had a decent performance last year. The one thing is, I think coming into the season, if you looked at him on paper, I thought the Colts were going to be one of those teams that were going to be really rough to play. This was going to be a very tough game.
Had this as a loss.
Yeah, this is a tough situation. You're right, the defense has looked a little underwhelming, whether that's because of injuries or situation. Also, I mean, Carson Wentz has been dealing with multiple ankle injuries, so he's not getting to be able to plan off and do the things that he needs to do. But they've been loading up and just, trusting this run game with Jonathan Taylor and those guys to run and get positive yards. And that's what they're predicated on, that and the play action pass. But when the run game isn't going strong, they get caught. Now, the one thing is, I mean, yes, their secondary got absolutely torched. Let's see if the 49ers can duplicate that performance, if they can really go in there and take advantage, of that Colts defense. And they're going to have to stop the run game. They're going to have to stop this pretty good offensive line. They're going to have to get in there and really get their run fits right and load up the box and make sure that the run game doesn't get, going and make Carson Wentz beat them. They're very familiar with Carson Wentz. They just played him last year. So, I don't think there's anything that ultimately scares me except for I don't want to see that Colts run game get going, because if it gets going, then it opens up everything else. And I think then the 49ers will be in some trouble. That's
the biggest concern is their run game. And that's the one area offensively that they've been able to consistently, well, I don't want to say consistently, but the last few weeks have been able to dial in and get going. And I think that's the biggest concern, because that will make Carson Wentz's job a whole heck of a lot easier. And it's been a weakness that teams have tried to exploit against San Francisco with that wide 9. I wanted to bring up earlier, Brad Jones talked about this morning's episode, and he thanked us, all right, for uploading that. He was getting real tired of the Kyle slander and just the negativity there. It's funny. You and I, it's not a thing where we're sitting there going, let's take a topic, right? Let's look at what's going on and what people are talking about, and let's just come at it opposite. We've been watching the game film on D'Amico Ryan's defense, and we'll be watching the All-22 film. And a lot of the stuff coming out of the first few weeks was how poorly D'Amico Ryan's was doing. And you and I were watching film and being like, man, I really feel like D'Amico Ryan's is like 98% of a great game, other than a few plays, and it's just few plays in crucial situations where maybe the call isn't what you want, or you put the wrong guys in the wrong spots.
That's what it came down to, personnel.
Right? those things got adjusted. Those things got fixed. They put different guys in different positions. And now we've seen him this week take even the next step, right, in the evolution, utilizing Talanoa Hufanga in certain situations where it's going to be really hard for him to not have success because you're not asking him to, cover one guy in space or be responsible for bracket coverage on a gentleman, but cover a big area and sending him on blitzes. It's like, man, D'Amico Ryans is continuing to build and develop. And, you and I then turned our focus this week to the offense because everyone's been talking about, Kyle Shanahan, scheme. And you and I are kind of coming to maybe not the same exact conclusion, but a similar conclusion, right? Which is, man, Kyle's schemed up some great stuff. And when everyone's hitting and doing the things they need to, there's big play potential. And guys aren't necessarily executing to make the big plays happen. It's just a matter of time, it feels like.
Yeah, you sure hope so. And I think that is the thing. If we'd have watched the All-22 film and we would have saw that, that Kyle Shanahan wasn't scheming it up right, then we'd have had to present that, because that's just what we're trying to do. We're just trying to, tell it exactly how we see it. But there was, and we only showed some clips. there is a ton of clips and plays in this football game.
That could have been a 2.5 hour video this morning. With, there's at least another 20 to 25 plays in that game, and where we could have highlighted where bad decision making happens, or guys don't execute, or someone just misses on something.
Yeah,
that's pretty obvious when you're watching it back on film. Obviously, it's the heat of battle. You're going to miss some things. But it's young guys, and then it's veteran guys. It's not like just one dude, and it's not just it's not just an inexperienced thing. You have guys who've been in the system and played for a long time, struggling at times, and then you have guys who don't have that experience that are, like you talked about, and like you say all the time, like learning on the job.
Yeah, and thanks, Luke. He says he's tattooing and listening. Hashtag stay faithful. Luke, as always, thank you so much.
Coming through.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say is a lot of times it falls on the play caller when a play doesn't work, right? They automatically blame the play caller. As somebody that's been a play caller many times, I've had the same sort of criticism where people are yelling at me and telling me that, we're not calling the right football plays. And then at the end of the game, you're winning, and your running back is one of the top running backs in the nation as far as yards, but you're not calling the right plays. And sometimes that stuff happens. You know what I mean? Sure. It just happens. People don't see it the same way, and I think sometimes we just have to bring a different perspective to it and just go into what is actually happening, and that's okay. And people are going to see it different ways, and I'm okay with that. We're just presenting the way that we see it.
That's what we're trying to do anyway. We're trying to be as objective as possible. And trying to let, the things that we're seeing guide us and not take personal feelings into account. I tend to, and you tend to do this as well, especially when it comes to film. Film dictates to us how we feel about it because it's based in something that we can actually grasp, right, and turn back to and be like, well, yes, I can feel frustrated that the offense isn't executed, and I can feel like it's on Kyle Shanahan. But when I watch the film and I see that he's got 11 guys, right, on the field, each of them has accounted for an individual in space, and then an individual isn't taking care of that guy. It's like, well, all right, what's the reasoning? Did he not have an angle? Does he? Okay, no, his buddy here gets blown up, and that prevents him from getting to his spot. Yeah, and that's why the play doesn't work. It's like, okay, well, that's not necessarily on Kyle. That's a little bit. Maybe if you want to say, well, he shouldn't put that guy in that position, maybe, but you can only play with the guys that you have, right, and the players that are on the field, and you're not asking them to do something that's out of the realm of possibility. You're just asking him not to get blown off the ball 5 feet and take certain things away from the team. So, I feel like we've done a pretty good job on that, and there's always room for improvement, obviously, in every aspect.
And it's like we talked about, right? The situations with D'Amico Ryans, you had the one time where you had Deommodore Lenoir, one-on-one with Devontae Adams, and everyone's talking about, you can't leave him in that situation. He was actually not one-on-one. There was actually safety help, but he played an improper technique. And then there's another one. You got Azeez Al-Shaair that's on, DK Metcalf. It's always been personnel. And then the end of the game with Devontae Adams, you had Deommodore Lenoir and Talanoa Hufanga. It's a personnel thing. And we've talked about this, whether that's something that Kyle Shanahan's going to have to figure out as well, is whether that's a personnel issue, right, with Charlie Warner and those guys needing to make those plays if he can't trust them or not. That is something that they figured out on the defense. Now they have to figure that out on the offense. And when they do, hopefully it's going to get worked out, and then they can go ahead and start moving the football a lot better than they are right now.
True. We had a couple here. Jaylee was talking about the PI calls, the last two on Norman and the one on Kirkpatrick have been a little sus to him. And then someone had asked after that about the PI calls and, do we think, there it is. Essentially, do we think that they've been justified? Has Norman been a little too handsy? Norman at times gets a little handsy. He does.
100%. Norman's some of these he should have gotten. He's grabbing, he's pulling, and
keyword there is some.
Yeah, some. There was some early in the season, especially against the Packers early in that game where we were getting pass interference calls. There's one on Deommodore Lenoir that's absolutely terrible, where the offensive guy literally grabs his arm and they call that. But sometimes Norman does get handsy, but that's how he plays, right? That's how Richard Sherman played when he was in Seattle. True. This is something some of these big, more physical corners do. They know that they have areas of weakness, so they play physical to change those weaknesses or be able to disguise them. He's not going to change. What he's going to have to change is the way that he does it. He's going to have to be a little bit more coy about how he does it. You'll see him. He'll grab a hip, a lot of times in a route and just do a little bit to change the receiver's trajectory. We saw that the deep pass with Kirkpatrick where he grabbed the shoulder. If he does that to the hip, there's no pass interference call. So sometimes it's just hand placement and technique. But yeah, they're going to be a little bit grabsy. You have to be able to stay with some of these receivers. Correct.
It was BV50 who had asked that question on the handsiness. And here's the thing, too. That handsiness also leads to great plays like on both of the big catches, one on third down to extend a drive for the Cardinals and the touchdown catch by DeAndre Hopkins, in which he does an incredible job of getting his hands on DeAndre early, really forcing him off of his route, and forces Kyler Murray to throw a perfect football, which he does. And it's annoying and it's frustrating when that happens, but as a corner, the more times that you're making the quarterback have to make the play, right, the better off your defense is. And it's part of the reason why, not Carolina, but Arizona's offense struggled as much as it did, is because Kyler was going to have to make the right play almost the entirety of that game. The perfect throws, right place, right time, or he was going to have to leave 50-50 stuff up there and hope that, things went his way. Unfortunately, he threw up two 50-50 balls that went his way, and that makes a big difference in the game and how things shape out. The one down the sideline to DeAndre Hopkins that Jimmy Ward kind of just misplays, and D-Hop goes up and makes a great play. And then that ridiculous Rondale Moore catch on the sideline where he tiptoes it in, where he has absolutely no business whatsoever making that catch. DJ is in the right position. DJ gets beat early, but recovers great and tries to locate the ball, gets a hand in space, and Moore just does stupid things there as a rookie, and it's just frustrating. BV had asked about Marlon Mack getting playing time. He's getting a little bit more recently since he asked for the trade, and that's because they're probably trying to pump up that trade value a little bit for him. And then Gino asked, does Trey start week 7 to see how much he has learned for a possible trade deadline for Jimmy G? Ant, what do you feel?
No. I think he's going to go back to Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Jimmy Garoppolo right now, from everything I've seen on film, still gives the 49ers the best opportunity to win games because he can operate this offense at a high level. The quick release takes some of the pressure off of the offensive line. Him getting the ball out, in 2.5 seconds compared to Trey, a little over 3, is a huge difference in, where a defender is on the field. So I think that right now that is something the 49ers need to do. And, one day it'll be Trey's day. I just don't think it's right now. And I could be wrong, but I just think from whatever the film has shown, Jimmy Garoppolo's executed the offense a little bit better. And I think what is sad is that he got hurt again because that first drive against Seattle was very good. And I think if he doesn't get hurt and he's able to push off that, we would have had a bunch of good drives against Seattle in that first half. And we wouldn't be talking about, all the things that have happened. But we also wouldn't have got to witness the greatness that was Trey Lance. We got to see a little glimmer, a little bit of hope of what can happen in the future.
But we also got to see the things that, are definitely not ready. He's not ready to handle. If you're asking me personally, then it's Jimmy. It's not close. It's Jimmy Garoppolo. He's ready to run the full offense. Everything that we need to be able to do. Obviously, there's things that Jimmy can't do with the read option stuff, the quarterback powers that they ran, things of that nature. But everything else, yes, does he struggle throwing outside the numbers? Absolutely. Yes, does he struggle throwing the deep ball at times? Absolutely. He needs a clean pocket to throw the deep ball. He doesn't have a clean pocket to throw the deep ball. There is no deep ball shot. He will check the ball down and throw it away. It's just the reality of the situation.
Yep.
Trey doesn't need a clean pocket because he can escape and create those opportunities to throw the ball downfield. Those are all great. However, Trey missed a lot of open receivers. And I'm talking times where it's very clear that the play is designed to go to somebody and Trey's not even looking to the right spot, which means he's either not seeing the coverage correctly or he's not understanding what his true option is on the play and who he's supposed to be going to based on the coverage that he's actually seeing. Those things they're concerning. They're really concerning because if you want to roll with him going forward, you can expect that kind of production from the offense. There'll be games where you play a defense and the defense will make mistakes.
Yeah.
Make mistakes and Trey will be able to capitalize. Think back to Seattle, right?
Yep.
And then there'll be games like this where the secondary doesn't make mistakes. They play it uber safe, Ant. Send guys ridiculously deep, make sure they're covering all the deep routes in space, and tell Trey, hey, we're going to send pressure. But you know what you can't do? You're not going to be able to throw the ball downfield. You're going to have to decipher who it is underneath that you're supposed to find. And Trey is going to struggle with that. We talked about in the breakdown this morning, that Brandon Ayuk one, that seam route. There is a very similar one later in the game with Ross Dwelley, where you have cover two. You have a cover two that is called. With, I think they bring some pressure, but it's picked up. Elijah Mitchell steps up and picks up the blitz pressure. And Kyle Shanahan calls a cover two beater. He calls 4 verts. He's got 4 verts down the seam. You got 2 guys deep. Ross Dwelley is open in space over the middle for a huge play, and Trey just misses it.
Yeah, he did. And there was a couple other times where he had Deebo Samuel on a slant concept, and also Kyle Juszczyk on the other side on a slant concept, where two guys run off and create rubs, and then they get underneath. They would have gotten 15, 20 yards on the play, and he just doesn't see it. He looks the other way. So, I mean, there's some question marks there, but I did see that David Bender said, is it true Kittle is unhappy with Jimmy not playing, or is it misinformation from the haters? I think it's misinformation. Okay, I don't think George Kittle's one of those guys that's going to think about. He's the ultimate teammate. He's not going to be mad that he might be mad and tell Kyle Shanahan I want Jimmy Garoppolo to play, but he's not going to let the rest of his teammates down by not going out there and performing. He has an injury. They put him on IR. They determined that it was getting worse and not getting better, so they shut him down. I don't think it has anything to do with that.
Let me ask you this, Ant.
Yeah.
As someone who's coached football teams in the past, you've had locker room issues. You never had the type of control like over in an NFL team where you have guys that you've picked, right? You've hand selected them to be here. You have salary cap stuff. You've coached a lot of teams, in fact, where your numbers are low, and so everybody matters. Yeah. Everybody counts. If George Kittle was putting a statement out there after you gave up 2 first-round picks and was so adamant that he doesn't want to play with Trey Lance and doesn't like Trey Lance, that he faked an injury, had to have Kyle and then put him on IR, I guess, to sell the injury, would you want to keep that guy in your locker room going forward?
No.
Would you trade him now while his value is high if that were truly the case?
Yeah. But that's not the case. There's no way. Correct. Because George Kittle's a good teammate, and George Kittle wouldn't do that. George Kittle has been clear that eventually he knows he's going to be riding with Trey Lance, and he knows the ability that he has. Is he close with Jimmy Garoppolo? Yeah, but he understands the business. You know who else he was close with? C.J. Beathard.
And Trent Taylor.
Yeah, and C.J. Beathard, he realized he was going to be gone, and they're friends enough where they hang out all the time. So yeah, I mean, this is a thing where friends come and go, unfortunately, but I don't think that's the case.
No, Juan Chavez. I almost said Sanchez. Juan Chavez. I agree and love 2 words of that. Bring Rodgers. That's it. The rest of that, Jimmy and Trey got to go. Get them out of here. No, I'm not in that boat. I am in the bring Rodgers to San Francisco boat. I'm there. Yeah. I'm with you there. I am not in the get rid of both of these guys. Get rid of Jimmy in order to accomplish getting Rodgers here? 100% yes. Get rid of Trey Lance? That's crazy. That's crazy talk right now.
I don't understand why we would want to get rid of Trey Lance. Trey Lance is a young player that's 21 years old that's going to be under contract for 5 seasons at least. There's plenty of time to develop him, and he's only played in 1.5 football games. Let the guy grow. Let the guy create. He's going to be a big player some year.
David, Trey has not had surgery on his knee.
No. He has a mild knee sprain. He's going to be reevaluated after the week.
He's fine. He's going to be fine.
Kyle's way of saying it was there's going to be a week, and then they're going to reevaluate to see if it was a 1-week injury or a 2-week injury. And if it's a 1-week injury, he's going to play. I would guess he's going to play.
Correct. And yeah, Monica, you're right. I think people think that because he loves Jimmy, he hates Trey. That's just not the case. No, he's really close with Jimmy Garoppolo. They have a strong kinship, and that's why they've had the chemistry that they've had on the field. But it's a business. This is not like high school football. This isn't college. This is a business, right? There's money involved. Yeah. There's things that need to happen, and there's certain ways that you have to build your team, including making tough decisions when money gets tight, and money is going to be tight for San Francisco going forward unless they get off of Jimmy Garoppolo's contract. They get off of Jimmy Garoppolo's contract, and there's more freedom to be able to do the things you need to do for the team to have success overall. It's a tough decision the Niners are going to have to make, and it's one that we're all pretty sure is going to be made, including George Kittle.
Yeah, and they made a decision that they were going to roll with Jimmy Garoppolo this year because they knew that Trey needed time to develop. He needed time to be able to go through the reads. They did it. They did their homework. They knew what it was going to take. They knew they couldn't count on him to start early on in the season. Hopefully, they could develop him into something. Kyle Shanahan has experience with a quarterback coming in and starting, in day one, Robert Griffin III, so he knew what it was going to take. And now they're just operating their game plan.
Accurate, Ant. Accurate. JLA asked, when is Greenlaw due back? Kyle kind of made some comments about this. They're hoping there's an outside chance that he's back for the Colts game, but if he's not back for that, it's going to be 1 to 2 more weeks after that. So you're looking at potentially week 8, week 9 return. We're all hoping week 7. Give me all 3 of these guys on the field. Give me Fred Warner, give me Azeez Al-Shaair, and give me Trey Green. Give me all 3 of these guys right into my veins and on the field at the same time. Azeez has been playing lights out. Get him out there with that trio. We can't call them the Hot Boys, but we got ourselves a nice trio back there.
Yeah, it would be nice to have all those guys back because then our defense is full strength minus the cornerback spot with Jason Verrett, which is a big hole that we have there. But I think you'll finally feel like, you know what, we got a defense that we feel like can be one of the top defenses in the league, and they're proving it right now. So I think that we have a playoff defense. We just got to get the offense to that level. I
think they can be there too. I think the pieces are there, and for them outside of Raheem Mostert, you're going to be fairly healthy here in a few weeks with all these guys coming back. But it's not been more. I mean, it is abundantly apparent. I mean, I knew it was obvious last year when we didn't have Raheem Mostert. Ant. I didn't think it could get more obvious. It's even more obvious this year how different the run game is for San Francisco when he's not out there. He is, when you talk about things that fit perfectly in the place, Kyle Shanahan and his run game and Raheem Mostert are 2 pieces of a puzzle that I don't think can make a more beautiful picture. Because we've seen Elijah Mitchell have some opportunities that you and I both know.
Yeah.
If it's Raheem Mostert, it's a house call.
100%.
It's a house call 10 out of 10 times. I miss him so much.
Oh,
man.
No, he would change the game. Yeah, he 100%. Really would. He would change this 49ers offense. Kyle Shanahan missed him, and when he didn't have Elijah Mitchell, he was, that was when the offense was really in a world of hurt because you needed that guy that could run that outside zone, and without him, you just can't. So, yeah, Raheem Mostert's definitely missed. There's going to be big questions if they are going to re-sign this guy in the offseason or not. He's missed almost 2 full seasons now with injury. Will they be willing to give him money to bring him back? Do they value him that much in this offense?
I got to think that Kyle's sitting here going, we know we're not going to have to pay you a lot. Let's see how much the money's actually going to be and really try, make an effort at this, because I really don't want to see him go anywhere else, because I know 2 things. Number one, wherever he goes after this, he may have some success, but it won't be the same level of success they can have here with Kyle Shanahan in this run game, because it's never worked out for any running back that leaves Kyle Shanahan's system to the same extent. It doesn't. They fizzle, they fade, they leave. So I want the best version of Raheem Mostert in the NFL. I know that's in San Francisco, and I think Kyle knows it too. It's just a matter of what's it going to cost. How much is it actually going to cost to keep him here? Because if it's going to break the bank, $6-7 million in order to keep him here, that's a lot of money to pay for a guy who the last 2 years hasn't been able to play even half of a football season. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how this goes. But man, if you're Kyle Shanahan, do everything you possibly can to find a way to bring this guy back.
Oh, 100%.
Because you scheme a great game.
Yeah, and Jay Ellie's right. E-Man has stepped up. He said he just doesn't want Al-Shaair covering the number 1 wide receiver anymore. That's a good thing about having Dre Greenlaw back, is you'll have Dre Greenlaw, and he'll be able to put the guys in the right positions, push these receivers to the safeties where they're ultimately trying to get them in the goal line situations. But it just didn't work out with Al-Shaair. He played a little bit improper technique, let DK get off on a little press release, and it was a struggle.
I gave him a nice outside move too, and it helps. It helps. I think Johnny watched our video this morning, and he's just convinced now that things will only get worse if Kyle Shanahan's let go. Look, man,
I agree. I concur.
I don't think it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's not wrong. I don't know. My thing is too is I asked a couple people this because they were very upset with my take and my belief that Kyle has schemed up a pretty great game plan and decent game plan and put guys in position to make plays and guys aren't executing. And they weren't very happy about that. And I said, okay, well, how does let's take your route. Let's take your line, your thought process here, which is trade Kyle Shanahan today, get 2 first-round picks for him. How does it fix the offense? How does it fix it? Well, Kyle's not there. I was like, but how does it fix it? How does the offense get fixed? Who is the guy that does it? Because let's say you fire Kyle and you promote Mike McDaniels. Well, Mike McDaniels is a Kyle Shanahan disciple, meaning he learned from Kyle Shanahan. The scheme's similar to Kyle Shanahan. It's probably the same scheme as Kyle Shanahan, and Kyle Shanahan's the problem. Have you actually fixed the problem? Because you're going to get the same thing, more of the same, just with a Mike McDaniels twist. That's either going to be disastrously bad or more of the same, maybe a little bit better. There's no way to know. And they said, I'd rather roll with someone I don't know than to keep letting this bum do the same things. And it's like, oh my gosh, so there is no plan for you. It's just, I don't like him, get him out. Those are the types of decisions that if a front office is making those times, and we've seen teams in the NFL do this, make those types of decisions, irrational, emotional decisions about a person. You're just sick of him. You're fed up with him. It's time to move. I'm not even going to put a plan in place to address this. We'll go our separate ways and we'll figure it out as we go along. Those are the things that lead you to a decade, 10 years, 15 years of sub below 500 football teams. Mm-hmm. You're picking in the top 5 of every draft. You're wasting quarterback talent after quarterback talent. You're missing on guys that you shouldn't be missing to. And there's just so much pressure mounting on the organization. You don't need to do that to yourself right now. You really don't. There's no reason to.
Yeah, I'm not going to add to that. I think you did a very good job. David Bender says, do our players restructure their pay in order to help the team? They have before. I mean, these players have done a good job of taking team-friendly contracts as far as working it with Parag and the way that they're able to manage it. I mean, a lot of these guys are playing on very low base salary this year to make sure everyone fits inside the salary cap, whether that's Fred Warner or Trent Williams. And they've done a good job of restructuring when they need to. Dee Ford restructured his contract to help the football team. So a lot of these guys do, which goes to show how much they believe in Kyle and John and the culture that they've built there. So I think that is always a promising thing. It just, at some point, right, a lot of the players have to get paid. I mean, Trent Williams got paid, absolutely paid. The only thing he was willing to do was maneuver, when he got the money just to help the team. But these guys are, in the end, looking to take care of their families and take care of their families forever because they're playing a tough game with a lot of physical injuries and things that happen. So there is a balance finding the money, and we'd always want players to get the money that they deserve. But in the same regard, we're like, man, can you help the team? I understand both avenues and both ways to look at it. But I think sometimes players will take it, especially if they take less money, especially if they think they can win a championship.
Definitely if they think they're going to win a championship, because you can't get those in the NFL all the time. JLE asked for score predictions for Bucs versus Eagles. If I had to go with one, I would say probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like 34-27 Bucs.
Okay, let me think about this. I'm going to go with 31-17 Bucs.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
You're going to give that Bucs defense that much credit. They've been pretty doo-doo the last few weeks.
Yeah.
They've been really bad. I mean, other than the Miami game, but...
It's okay.
It's okay.
I don't care that they've been doo-doo.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I mean, I'm just saying. You gleam on things that you've been seeing. I haven't seen a lot from the Bucs defense.
You'll see it tonight.
I hope so.
You're going to learn today.
Hey, I hope so, because I played Tom Brady in fantasy, so I want all the tutties. I want the Bucs defense to give them the ball in great field position. I would love all of those things, man. I absolutely would. I guess the only thing the Bucs defense also has going for them is Sirianni's been doing a really bad job so far. I mean, they're struggling offensively to get things going and get things dialed up.
Is it Sirianni, or does he not have the talent?
Touche, Ant.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't broke down their.
I've been watching a little bit. There's been some questionable scheme stuff. They seem to be really struggling establishing the run game, and I don't know. Sirianni seems to be struggling right now. I guess not getting Miles Sanders going, but putting Miles Sanders in good spots. They don't have favorable run boxes, and then they try and run. And then he'll do things like get Kenny Gainwell out into space when pressure's coming and they load the box in, and get him little screen passes. And I'm like, well, do that with Miles.
Yeah,
he could probably do the same stuff, maybe better, because he's had a lot of big plays. But
and what's up, Antonio? Welcome back.
Absolutely, welcome back. Hello, guy. Hello there. Let's see. Williams, Kittle, Warner got the bag. They did get the bag.
100%.
They did get the bag. And there's more 49ers that are going to get the bag too. I imagine Debo here is going to get paid after the year he's having if he continues down the.
Well, they're going to have to make a decision because he comes into the last year of his contract next year. As a second-round pick, they don't have that fifth-year option, so they're going to have to make some decisions there, and that might be some of the reason they're pushing Brandon Ayuk. Like, hey, Brandon, like, you need to make sure you're playing up to snuff because we got some decisions to make in the wide receiver room.
If he doesn't get it going, then you're re-signing Devo, and you're going to have to move on from Ayuk maybe earlier than you'd like to.
You still got him under contract for a few years.
Still got some time, but we'll see. It
just means that you might not re-sign him after that,
or you may not even extend that fifth year. I'd be shocked if they didn't.
Mike McGlinchey got a fifth-year extension. Come on.
But Mike McGlinchey is the second best run blocker in the league.
I know, but you're telling me Brandon Ayuk is not going to develop over the next couple of years.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if he continues the trajectory he's on right now, there's questions.
Yeah. No questions?
Really? All right. Isn't it nice, Cutback crew, to not have the push trolls? Look, Monica, I wanted to tell you that. I want to tell a lot of the Cutback crew this. The 49ers are a franchise and an organization with 5 championship rings. We got 5 of them. All right. We're one of the leaders in the clubhouse in terms of teams with championships. Other teams in the league look at the 49ers and think, right, spoiled, entitled fan base. Got a lot of things going for them. So when the 49ers lose, when they lose, they're going to come. They're going to come because there is nothing better for these people than to watch us, look at us, and be able to, I guess, lick up the tears, kind of like Cartman on South Park. Oh, your tears are so delicious. They want to see 49ers fans suffer. So if they can come in and try and make that a little worse for us, they're going to. They are going to do that. It's something that 49ers fans just got to kind of have to get used to now in the social media age. Because the Niners have had success in the past, people are going to come in and really rub your face in the dirt when you're down.
And Jay Elliott, I'm not saying anything about Mike McGlinchey comparison. All I'm saying is they gave Mike McGlinchey a fifth-year option. Why the heck would they not give Brandon Ayuk one? And then T.O. says he's a good trade bait. Is he talking about Brandon Ayuk?
If he's talking about Brandon Ayuk, T.O., have we got a trade scenario for you? Probably at a later time, though, because there's no reason to put it out there right now. It's way too early to be putting it out there, Ant, and we don't want it to happen this year. Well, no. I mean, hold on. No, we don't want it to happen this year. We don't want it to happen this year.
It wouldn't happen this year.
I would be hard-pressed to think that it would happen this year. But we do have a spicy trade rumor, and if we get any inklings out there that anyone's discussing our potential trade offer, then you can guarantee the 49ers Cutback will go live just to make sure we put it out there before anybody else. Because Ant was all over this.
He is saying Brandon Ayuk.
He's saying Brandon Ayuk, but I don't know if he has the same.
I don't know, but yeah, we do have a trade scenario that would involve Brandon Ayuk during the offseason.
Absolutely, this upcoming offseason, per se.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe we'll put it out there at a later date.
And it's taking every bone in my body right now not to do something.
Hold on, bro.
to not give it away.
Just don't. There's no reason to put that out there. That's just a conversation right now. It's not going to happen right now. True. No reason to put it out there. No reason to be one of those people that...
See, Jaley, you say keep Ayuk, but you haven't heard the trade scenario. You really haven't heard the trade scenario. Once you hear the trade scenario, I have a feeling you won't be saying that because it would be 100% possible. But look, I'm one of those guys who is in that boat, right, where I believe Ayuk's going to develop. There's really no reason to move off of him unless you can pull something off like we're eventually going to let everyone know about. But yeah, what did Antonio say? That seemed like a nice.
He said, off topic for this season, but I think Alex Smith would be a great mentor for Trey in the future. Maybe he could make his way into the quarterback room as a coach. What do you guys think? I think any time that you have a guy of Alex Smith's caliber, you wouldn't mind having him around your team. I don't know if he'll be a quarterback coach or if that's something he's interested in, because that's a big commitment to be a coach. I mean, look at Joe Staley. He checked it out for a couple of weeks and was like, nah. So it is a big commitment, but if he decided to do that, I think Alex could be successful at whatever he does. And the insight that he could give about dealing with different situations, different offensive coordinators and coaches would be very valuable to a young quarterback. So if that was something they were interested in doing, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But I think right now they're okay with Scangarello.
I think they are too, and Scangarello has had a lot of success in this offense. Brad Jones asks, are the initials in that trade OBJ?
No.
the initials are not OBJ, but one of those letters is in the name of the individual. I won't tell you which ones, and that means that pretty much every name is still available. Ha ha! And I didn't spoil it. Look at me go.
Yeah.
Look at me go. I know your trade scenario involves Rodgers. You're not fooling us. Alex, LOL.
But we got to remember, I came up with the trade scenario.
This is Ant's trade scenario.
Yeah.
This is not... Alex may be excited about said trade scenario, but this is Ant's.
Yeah.
Ant's trade scenario. Ant is the one who came up with it. I'm just on board with it. 1,000%. So what do you say to that, Monica?
Yeah.
Brad Jones or his trade Ayuk to the Packers with picks for Rodgers and signed Devontae Adams in free agency. What?
Wow, that's a pretty good idea.
That's a pretty good idea.
Wow.
I almost wish that one of us may have come up with that.
I know, right? Why didn't we think of that one? Maybe we'll have to bring that up on the same episode.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's a good one. I like that, Brad Jones.
That's a good one, Brad. Definitely a good one.
Yeah, Ayuk to the Packers with picks for Rodgers and sign Adams. Do you think that they would have to give up more, Brad? Do you think that it would just be Ayuk for Aaron? Do you think they would have to give up something else?
That's true.
I'd be curious.
Very, very, very true, man. Very, very true.
And JL, yes, no OBJ.
No on OBJ.
If you saw the stat line that came out today, they talked about how his numbers are decreasing every year. He went from averaging over 100 yards a catch early in his career to now averaging, a game, to averaging just over 40 yards a game.
Not good.
And it's decreased every single year like clockwork.
Very, very true. David Benner, Green Bay's organization denied us Aaron, right? I don't know. I wouldn't say they denied us Aaron, but they denied trading him.
They definitely denied him being free, and he did want to come to San Francisco. He did want to be traded to San Francisco. So, yeah, they didn't want that to happen 100%.
Correct. They didn't want that at all.
That would have been a terrible situation for them, because if pre-draft the 49ers would have moved in the direction of Aaron Rodgers, the offense would be operating at an entirely different level than they are right now, because let's be honest, he's a freaking Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
Yeah,
and you know what? Green Bay would have got absolutely demolished in week 3.
Send Pack Trey with BA.
Ooh.
Interesting. Very interesting. Only question is, who's your backup? Because you're not going to be able to hold Jimmy Garoppolo and Aaron Rodgers on your roster with those salaries.
Yeah, so Jimmy's gone, Aaron's in, Trey's gone. Trey and Brandon Ayuk, I think, would be very desirable to the Green Bay Packers. I don't know why they would not want to make that deal. That sounds like a lot to give up for Aaron Rodgers, who's
on a 1-year deal.
And yeah, on a 1-year deal, you'd have to get an extension signed with him for sure.
That's true. It's gonna be interesting. Caleb, tell us or we riot. Caleb, I'm not telling you nothing.
Yeah,
nothing until you send whatever it is that you're supposed to send. So make sure you do.
You just go ahead and riot.
You just go ahead and you do what you.
Let's start a riot.
Freaking riot. OBJ had one great catch and people think he's Jerry Rice. Also true. I mean, listen, I won't take anything away from OBJ in the catch category.
I will.
OBJ's got some incredible hands, man.
Does he have any incredible catches in the playoffs?
No.
No.
I'm not saying that he's Jerry Rice.
And boots on a boat.
Look, man, I'm not saying this dude Jerry Rice. He's nowhere in the same category as Jerry Rice. Does the man have elite ball catching skills? Can he go up in space and catch a football better than a lot of other people on planet Earth? Yes. But there's other parts of being there are other aspects of being a wide receiver. OBJ is not on that level in those other assets and facets of the game. It's just reality.
He's a fast guy who made one great catch.
Correct.
Period.
It's also correct. Runa, how you doing, my guy? How you doing? You looking forward to getting smacked this week in fantasy football in the Cutback League? That's the question I have for you. Are you ready? Because I'm 5-0 and undefeated, and I'm ready to go 6-0. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We do have a tight contest, though. It's going to be interesting this week.
Oh, you see what Runa just said?
What did he say?
He said he'd like to trade Trey and Debo for A-Rod as long as A-Rod sits behind Jimmy to learn.
I hope that's a joke. That's
100% a joke. He's being sarcastic.
I like it. I like it, Runa. That's good. It's a good one. It's definitely a good one. 3 days grace copyright strike. Hey, we only did like 10 seconds. It's fine. That's allowed.
Yeah.
That's allowed. We were off key. Definitely not in tune or in sync.
100%.
So I mean, they wouldn't come after us for that.
No.
They might come after us for that.
No, they wouldn't.
I don't know, man.
It's free advertising.
You're welcome, 3 days grace.
Yeah.
You're welcome. A lot of the younger folk probably don't even remember, don't even know that you were a band that sings that song. So yeah, congratulations. Congratulations. What about Cam Newton as a backup from TO? JLE immediately after that. Cam is done. It's not looking good for Cam.
Yeah, I think if he was going to be in the league, someone would have signed him already. It might be the end of his career. Unfortunately, I mean, he was a good player for a long time, very successful player. Just looks like maybe his time is up.
Yeah. No, have to give up someone else. Just not sure. I bet Thanos would say trade Kittle as well. If Thanos could, he would trade Kittle and put Ross Dwelly in the limelight for some reason. I don't know why, but he'd do it.
Yeah,
he would.
Yeah, I think they would try to trade. People on Twitter will try to trade George Kittle because Twitter is a universe that's crazy.
It's definitely a Twitterverse of madness. That is for sure. And maybe they should be watching out for that video. That's coming out very soon. I'd like to say this though. I always thought Thanos is more of a power guy. To be honest with you, I'm noticing now. And big fan of the reality stone. He really likes using the reality stone to make reality whatever he wants it to be, and not actually what it is. It's quite impressive, actually. Great use of the stone, by the way. His part.
I'm just gonna let you go with it. I'm not gonna comment on it. Yeah, no conversation on him, in my opinion.
We're having fun. It's a good time around here. I'm losing this week for sure, but any given Sunday, you never know. Hey, you're right. And you know what? Your team hasn't been doing that bad. It's just my team has been, in the Cutback League, it's been operating at an extremely high level. 5-0, scored the most amount of points. Also had the most points against me scored as well. So my team is just...
You have no defense.
Well, I mean, I don't control another player's team performing at a high level.
Then why do it?
Also true, and it's one of the more frustrating parts of fantasy football. Is I'm
undefeated too.
I don't get to control the other people's lineups.
I don't get scored on. I'm undefeated. Get on my level.
I'll try, but it's gonna be really hard. It's gonna be really, really hard. But look, man, it's been it's interesting. It's an interesting week. It's a different week. Bye week came early this year.
Yeah.
I'm used to the middle of the season buys, not the early buys. It's a little odd because we've been on such a roll with our episodes and daily content and just pumping out stuff at the end of the week. It's been an interesting adjustment this week, that's for sure.
It really has. It's been different because we don't have a lot of the stuff that we're going to be normally putting out. We didn't have anyone to talk to for Know Your Opponent. We didn't have a preview show. So it was a little bit different week. To be honest with you, it's been okay. It's been an all right week. I've just been sitting back and enjoying some of the lesser moves by 49ers front office, and just enjoying some of the conversations that we've been having, and interacting with some of the people on YouTube and on Instagram and stuff. So it's been good. I'm looking forward to next week when we get to play games again, because I want to get off the losing streak, and beat the Colts. But for right now, I think it's nice. It's nice to break. It came at the right time for the team, and that's what's important. And no one can forget that Javon Kinlaw cut off his dreads.
He means business, Ant. He means 100% business. And Monica, first off, how dare you? Don't bring up the team that's struggling. Okay, it's one team. I'm in a lot of leagues this year. All right, as I talked about with Evan, I got like 29 wins between my 6 teams, because a couple of them you have playing against the median anyway. And I only have one team that's not performing. All of my other teams are performing. I'm either first or second in my league, and one team I'm in second to last place because I got 6 guys on IR.
Where's the integrity of just having one team in one league?
Listen, I can't. Sometimes you can't help it with fantasy, man. You start rolling, you get with friends, and you're doing stuff. And my league that I'm the commissioner in, my team is literally the 2020 49ers. Literally the 2020 49ers. I got 6 of my main guys on IR, and I'm playing with waiver wire scrubs out there, barely scraping by.
You know what I hear?
It's frustrating.
Excuses.
If I'm not careful, and I'm gonna be on the outs as the commissioner. They're gonna want to replace me because I don't know how to put a roster together. That's gonna be an issue indeed, man. It's frustrating. Sherman limping around the sidelines. Oh my gosh, if that's true for the Bucs, holy cow.
Yeah,
that's awful.
You see what Brad Jones said? He started to report videos to YouTube as misleading and spam.
That's not going to go anywhere, unfortunately. It's just not. It's not going to go anywhere.
It's funny though.
I don't need fantasy intervention. I'm fine. This is the most leagues I've ever played in. I am never doing this again.
You are right, KNDR. You are right.
I will never be playing this many fantasy leagues ever again.
Yeah, you're right. Next year I'll probably have 8.
No, I will have next year. Ooh, man, I would say I would like it to be 3. 3 is a good number. Manageable. It's a manageable number.
Yeah, so all you that are in fantasy leagues with Alex, be on the lookout. He's getting ready to get rid of you.
Alan, your league safe. I want 100% to be in your league.
Now some of them already know who the other guys are. So
It's true. I apologize to the rest of you. It's not that I don't like you. It's that it's just too much on my little brain.
It's not you. It's me.
It's my little brain. I just can't handle it.
Saying. It's not you. It's me.
I'm small braining this.
Yes.
That's what's going on. And stop putting me on the hot seat. I can't handle this. I'm not used to this. Look, this has been it's been good. Cutback crew. This has been fun. Had a nice conversation here. Got some good laughs and some good questions. If you have any more too, leave them right now. We'll take a couple more before we wrap up for the night because we got the Thursday night game on. Excuse me. We don't want to take away too much from that. Brad says no, but it's peace of mind for me. That's funny. Yeah, I get that. You know, so just knowing that you did something to try and just get the nonsense out of there, but it's fine. Need to watch The League again, Jaylee. That is a great show. Great show. Incredible show. I don't know if Ann ever watched it. Did you ever watch it? No. Okay. It's wonderful.
I have no idea what it's about.
About a bunch of friends who run a fantasy league and the shenanigans that go along with it.
Seems phenomenal.
It's funny. If you like fantasy, you like the show. If you don't like fantasy, you don't like the show. I'm stunned, and I'm stunned that you never watched The League. I can't wrap my head around why you wouldn't watch The League on FX.
I'm too real, you know.
And don't play this fantasy stuff. It's all real life. It's all that. Now it was fun. Eagles touchdown to Ertz. Oh man, that's huge. That's huge. It's gonna be a high scoring shootout.
We'll see. 2 drives, man. Relax.
It's gonna be a high scoring shootout.
Okay.
Look, it's 7-7. Beat LA. I like that, Antonio. David Bender, we appreciate that. All of you, Cutback crew, we love having you guys here. We enjoy chatting with you.
100%. Bringing
you the daily content and coming up with new and creative ideas weekly. It's fun.
Yeah, if you guys have ideas, things you want to see us do, let us know. Hit us up, whether that's on the social media, you want to email us, you want to leave it in a comment, whatever it is, let us know any topics that you would like to see us cover, or, video breakdowns and stuff. Maybe we can bring a little bit of that over to YouTube occasionally as well, if you got a specific topic, but just let us know so we can get into it. And if you just have great points that you just want to say to us too, do that as well. We're always interested in hearing what you have to say.
We enjoyed the conversation. Sometimes it's hard during the day throughout the week because both of us work and got stuff going on, so it becomes a little hard at times, maybe while our videos are premiering and things like that, to always be engaged and interacting. But we're constantly looking at the YouTube comment section. We're constantly on YouTube when we have the time to look at things and look things over and try and answer questions that you guys have and give insight when it's necessary and needed, and just make sure that there's nothing crazy going on in the channel in the comment section. But no, it's good times. Things are going well here. We're almost to 2K. We're getting real close. We're inching ever so close. Ant and you and I both didn't think we'd be at this point right now with this channel and where it's at and how much it's grown. And that's all thanks to you guys. We cannot do it without y'all. Thank you.
Yeah, and BV50 said, Ant, what is it about fantasy that you don't like? It is this point, is I don't want to have to draft someone like Russell Wilson and then come up to a situation where I need to play Russell Wilson against my team and be caught in a catch-22 where I need Russ to score points right now to win at fantasy, and I need the 49ers to win the game because I'm a huge 49ers fan. I don't like that scenario. It doesn't work out for me. And the reason is because I'm a very competitive person. I don't like to lose. So I would not want to lose at fantasy. I would not want the 49ers to lose. I want neither one of those things to happen. So I just can't bring myself to do it. And people that say, oh, well, just don't draft someone from that team. I want to win. So I'm going to draft the player that I think is going to do the best for me. And so that just doesn't work out for me. So I just steer clear of fantasy. Everyone that wants to do it, enjoy yourself. And I just give Alex a hard time, and I give people a hard time, but really, I don't mind. I used to get asked fantasy questions all the time at work, and I would answer them and help people out because, even though I don't do it, I'm not against it. It's just do your thing.
Also, you're a coach and a football connoisseur, and so you're like me. You have a good idea of what a team's strengths are, the schemes, and the opponent they're playing. So you also have a pretty good insight into what are good matchups and opportunities to exploit things. Keeping it real, Ant and the haircut of Fantasy Football League. What did I miss?
No, you missed Tio say, want to see Alex pick 10,000 fantasy teams?
Hey, if you want that hair, you know what, Tio? Y'all want me to continue having like 7 fantasy leagues, and if you want me to actually legitimately, I'm being serious about this, want me to stay in all my leagues next year, then I'll set a goal. We'll set a goal on Patreon. If we can get 50 patrons by not this time next year, but before the start of next season, 50 patrons, I'll stay in all of my leagues. I'll even add 2 more. I'll get to 10 fantasy leagues. I will do 10 fantasy leagues, and I will live draft all of them for Patreon. And you know what? We'll even do a couple to the Cutback League here on you. I'll live stream it here on YouTube as well.
Well, I hope you enjoy 10 fantasy football leagues because that's what's coming your way.
Wait, if we get 50 patrons by that time, man, I will happily do it.
All right.
Happily do it.
I hope you enjoy fantasy leagues because you're about to be drowning in them.
And Sherman is out with a hamstring for Tampa Bay.
Wow.
So all the people who are calling for Richard Sherman, count your lucky stars that we didn't make that move.
Well, you know, that does bring into the question. Kyle Shanahan was getting killed because Kyle Shanahan said it would take Richard Sherman a couple weeks once they brought him in to be ready. And then they said, but look, Tampa Bay threw him out there and he was ready. Maybe Kyle Shanahan's not so bad at handling injuries. Yeah, he got out there a little bit before he should have. Unfortunate. I like Richard Sherman. I don't agree with his comments that Tampa Bay is the most talented team he's ever played on, but that's neither here nor there.
That's something that Richard Sherman does a lot. I don't know if you noticed that. He tends to blow things up a little bit. But hey, it's fine. Alex, I don't think that's good for your mental health. You're not wrong.
Hey, Tio, you probably have 20 NCAA basketball sheets during the tourney. You are 100% accurate.
It's not 20.
But 100% he does.
There are a lot of tournament brackets that I'm in.
Yeah,
yes.
no sheets of integrity for Alex.
Well, first off, hold on a second. Sheets of integrity. I always have one main bracket, and I post the main bracket. That's the only one that I will actively go out and promote.
How many times have you told me on my 10th sheet I had this, dude?
Correct. On the 10th sheet, I've had this. But am I out bragging about the 10th sheet?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I talk about how the bad sheet, the main sheet's doing terrible, and then bring up the fact. But on one of them, I got it right.
Monday on Face Off, we'll bring Jason in on this exact conversation.
Well, fine, we can bring Jason in on this conversation because you want to know what? Jason's not much better when it comes to the NCAA tournament bracket stuff.
Correct. 100%
He might actually be worse than I am.
Yeah.
That's actually impressive.
I don't even watch the games and then I pick winners, so that's how it goes.
Fair.
I once did a pick'em for NASCAR to prove how easy it was to do well at that, and finished in the top 5% in the nation in NASCAR picks. I never watched a single race.
Don't even have the energy to want to do that, to be honest with you.
It was to prove a point. There was some stuff going on.
Hey, you definitely proved one. Cutback crew, this went way off the rails. My fantasy football addiction is not something that I wanted to share on the podcast, but hey, here we are. It's a problem. DraftKings.
You don't want to go to rehab. No.
I definitely did not want to. But DraftKings, hit us up. What's up?
Yeah.
We'll do some stuff for you. Look, this is a lot of fun. We had a good time with this. I enjoyed it. I know Ian enjoyed it. Cutback crew, we hope you enjoyed as well. If you're busy with fantasy football,
that, Antonio.
You don't have time to worry about your mental health. Win-win. Also, accurate. If I'm worried about the mental health, I'm not worried about waiver moves the next morning. Can't miss on those waivers. Oh, man. It's a lot of fun. Go enjoy the rest of the Thursday night game. We'll see you tomorrow morning for the daily at 11 a.m. And until the next one, Ant only wins. That is accurate. That's why the game that we play is called I Win Around Here in these parts. But until the next one, Cutback crew, stay safe.
Remember, the right way
is always the 49ers way.